Hello, hello.
Hello, Victor.
Hello, hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, happy Tuesday.
Yeah, same to you. I'm at a Starbucks, so if you can't hear me, let me know and I'll try to find somewhere quieter.
And it's good so far, and usually you're on your computer.
Usually I'm on my computer, yeah.
I said, are you on your computer?
What?
In any case, the noise cancellation is working really well, so I don't hear
Okay.
any background noise. But are you hearing me okay?
Yeah, I'm hearing you great.
All right, cool. Nice. I'm back in Portugal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Back home in Portugal.
Do you live in Portugal, I
Yes,
assume?
Portugal is home. But yeah, this trip to this trip uh, this trip was really motivating to go and do more things in Canada. I mean, I've been out of Canada effectively since 96, so it's nearing on to 30 years. But yeah, it was really wonderful meeting everybody, and it feels like there's a good energy.
Yeah. Do you travel a lot?
I mean, I don't know what's a lot, right? I mean, in the age of digital nomads, I definitely do not travel a lot, but a few times a year, yeah. And now
Nice.
because my father and my stepmother are in Toronto and they're getting older, so yeah, I think I'm going to be coming back once, twice a year to Canada. Uh, though not in the winter. I think like part of my mistake was that the last few times I went back was in winter, and that was
Yeah.
not that was not motivating to come more.
Yeah, winter kind of sucks here.
So yeah, tell me more about what you're up to, uh, and how could I be of use to what you're working on?
Yeah. So I'm part of Propel.Earth. So we're like a startup accelerator. It's like networks. We're like this large network of various startups and people that help startups. And essentially, most of what we do is just help startups succeed at whatever it is they're trying to do. So my position in the company is I do operations. I'm a success manager for some of the companies, and currently I'm spearheading the funding pipeline.
And how many organizations, I mean, how many startups are you working with?
So there are, I think, around 100 in the network. Um, I'm not personally working with that many because I would get overwhelmed.
But
But
that's 100 in Propel total or 100 in Toronto?
100 in total. We're international organization, so there's like all over the world countries. I would say mostly New York, but there's a lot in Toronto and different parts of the world as well.
And how many in Toronto?
I don't know how many are in
But like, I
Toronto.
mean, it's not a test, but is it a dozen? Is it a few tens? Is it 100? Like, no, 100 is the
How many are in Toronto? I know of at least three,
fingers of one hand or fingers of
four.
many hands?
Um, Honestly, I don't know. Like I don't know everyone. It's a large network. So in like what I do is I work personally with some of them. Actually, there's at least five. now that I'm like counting, there's at least 5 of them that I've interacted with. So I don't know everyone, and it's just too many people to know. So it's like a lot of it's like the network and working with people or working with people, etc. So yeah, I don't know how many are, at least 5.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah. But even like the Toronto ones, like sometimes they want to actually work elsewhere. So it's interesting.
Interesting. And what is your guys' model in terms of equity, funding, etc.?
Yeah,
Cost?
that's a great question. So that's something we're still working out, but I think a lot of it comes down to individual cases. So it depends on like when we get to know the startups, like it depends on what their needs are, and then how best we fill them. So there is no one size fits all. Like I know a Y Combinator is 7% straight, but for us it's mostly like what we do is try to work out what it is that they need, and then work out, okay, we can deliver it, then here's the equity exchange. So it's like more like a business place than and then the network itself, so far it's free. We've been helping out founders for free in that regards, but that may change over time.
Interesting. Cool. And what? Uh, so what are is there a standardized program? How does it work to participate?
Yeah, so to participate, you sign up on the website, and then that lets you like make a profile. The website is Propel.Earth, and then you sign up. That makes you a profile that puts you on the map, and then other people can interact with you. And then what happens is there's various things going on, so you can connect to the things that are happening, um, and also you have the opportunity to have a success manager. So there are people who will like take ownership of your journey through Propel and help you and actually help you connect to the various organizations and things that are needed. And that's like the onboarding journey. And then once you get there and you start to like feel they have the right connect to the right people, what we usually do is like needs. We figure out what needs you need to be met and how we can meet those needs. And then in that process, we feel each other out. We work together a little bit, and we make some deal, whether that's equity exchange, revenue share, or just hiring like play money. Yeah. Some of the service, we have a lot of service providers, and some of those have revenue shares, will have commission as well for that. So it's like sometimes we'll just refer people that we already have agreements with, and that lets then we take a percentage of that. It's pretty relaxed, and like we really are about helping people. So yeah, but like also we need income to keep the lights on. So
Of course.
yeah, generally the attitude is like we want to like either generate people money or save people time or money, either create time or money or save time or money, and then take some fractional percentage of that.
And how do you help with fundraising?
So that's something we're starting now, but I think the general process is we're gonna meet with founders. We're gonna figure out we're gonna like create proper pitch decks for them, and like push them through a little bit to like put that pressure to show them what the investors are looking for at their stage. So like to give them a little bit of that experience, and then to introduce them to investors.
So you have a network of investors already?
Yes, there are. Yeah, there are investors. Yeah, there are investors in our network, I think, and then there are investors in our network, and then there are people that know investors in our network. Yeah, and it's a little so it's a little disorganized right now, which is why I'm working, which is what I'm working on currently.
You're working on getting it organized, you mean?
Yeah, so I'm working on it because like I want to like do a nice pipeline. I like the chaos and I like people making individual relationships, but also to create like a nice pipeline where it's a founder can come in and say, I want to raise, and then we can like go through the process of like seeing if it makes sense for them, getting them getting the metrics that they need, putting them on a pitch deck, and then pitching it to the and then introducing them to the correct investors for them. And then yeah, we would take a percentage, and then we would take a percentage of the investment given as compensation, and either take that in like some combination of money and equity. I like your question. So let me tell my story.
I'm just looking through the list. Oh, Chad Richardson is. I was just talking with him.
Oh,
He's on
do
your.
you know him?
I've had a bunch of calls with him online. I mean, 3, maybe 4. So no, I don't know him. He said he might come to the gathering that we're organizing at end of August in Czechia, Czech Republic, around which will heavily feature regenerative tech, regenerative AI. Yeah, that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, you have something listed. This app will help you go straighter in life. What does this
What?
mean? I'm looking at your profile. Get whelmed.
Oh yeah. So I was working on, I was doing my own startup before, and then that's how I got into Propel. Actually, is like I was working on my own startup, and I really needed some support, and so I joined Propel.Earth, and they weren't giving me the support I wanted, and I'm like, oh, you guys should do it this way and this way. Then I somehow got suckered into doing it myself, and now I'm working for them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you don't like it, fix it. That's
Yeah, I didn't like it, so now I'm fixing it. And now I like it actually. I really enjoy my own work.
uh,
Yeah.
do you do anything around? So for me, for reference sake, I came through bunch of different systems change movement from future of money, future of education, building villages, and also reinventing organizations.
Yep.
Uh, and now with the event that I'm organizing, kind of rooted in the regenerative space. So really, I like to, I see regeneration in many places that doesn't use the language of regeneration.
Mhm.
But I do believe that in order to build something different, you also need to build differently.
Yeah.
So you can't just, I don't believe we'll create a more beautiful future through a startup hustle burnout culture,
Yeah.
right?
I agree.
Do you guys do that kind of work with the teams, helping them work in more regenerative teal? Are you familiar, by the way, with teal, reinventing organizations?
Which one?
Reinventing Organizations was a book that Frederick Laloux wrote. It came out about 8, 9 years ago. There was a movement around this idea of teal organizations, so organizations that operate at a higher level of, yeah, I mean, there's a whole idea
Did you say
space.
teal organizations?
Teal. Reinventing Organizations was the book. Uh,
Yeah, that's based off of like integral and spiral dynamics.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
extending into Inspire Dynamic, which is focused more on the individual into the organization.
Yeah. So I'm very familiar with yeah, like integral spiral dynamics. The I'm gonna like honest, and I have a lot of friends that were like really into these things. But a lot of this stuff just didn't land with me.
Interesting.
Like it
Well,
just, yeah, like the way they kind of conceptualized it, it didn't really resonate. I will say personally, yeah, like I love I love the the higher consciousness stuff, and that's how I operate, and that's how I work here. So I am doing it. I'm not necessarily doing it explicitly, but to be honest, I don't feel like it always needs to be done explicitly. But yeah, we do pay a lot of attention to um, like personal, like relational and inner and interpersonal things and dynamics. So actually, like one of our co-founders, one of the core team members is Yehuda Silverman. He's a
oh wow,
conflict.
Lee is part of it.
Huh?
Lee Rael, Source. He's
Ooh,
also on your platform.
So we have a conflict resolution specialist that is part of our core team. So
That's great. It would be nice to get people to reduce the amount of work that they have, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like it is very sensitive. Like it's one of the things when we're discussing strategies and stuff. One of the things we talk about a lot is like relationships and are people making like good like ethical like stable decisions because it's too hard to work with it's too hard to work with people that will just like you know. But like I'm a firm believer that like I like the higher consciousness stuff and I want everybody to go there, but I think like a lot of times if you're like acting with ethics and honor and good intent, the good higher consciousness will come.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think there's a bunch of factors that go in. One thing is, if you're working remotely, I don't think you can get away from doing this stuff explicitly. If you're all sitting together in an office, yeah, sure, we vibe, we have lunches, we have things, which is when we informally discuss culture things and so forth. And it can kind of just happen because we have lunches, we have barbecues, we go camping or something. If you're remote, primarily remote or fully remote, you don't have that kind of human space of interrelationship. And if you don't intentionally have those conversations, they're not likely to happen.
Yeah,
So I've been working remotely for 20 years, so I'm not necessarily claiming to be smarter than most people, but I've had more time than most people to make mistakes and fuck things up, which is a learning journey. And I think people don't appreciate that remote work takes much more discipline
yeah,
and it takes much more intentionality in the culture stuff.
yeah. I actually agree with
Uh,
you.
so yeah, that's something to think of. I think actually people really deeply underappreciate how fundamentally remote work is going to refactor how we collaborate and work together.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. This is a good point. I hadn't thought of it this like explicitly, but yeah, like a lot of like our like the original founder, like the head of the organization, Stefan is here in Toronto. Actually, he was at the gathering, and yeah, just like being able to like work with him in person, and like we played board games the other night, like just just like spending time together doing stuff. Really, like it really changes the dynamic. Like it really is able to like flesh it out, and then being able to work. You're right, like on the discipline, like I just require way less discipline when I have the right people around me.
yeah,
I just
yeah. And the fact of the matter is, I've been working remotely for 20 years, and I have come to believe that if you're working remotely, which by the way I'm a huge advocate for, I'd never go back to the office, but I think you really need to put in much more intentionality in how you build culture. You need to have in-person retreats, and they need to be well organized and facilitated, so you're actually making good use of the time. And I think for me that connects, it's actually a good thing, because more discipline in culture would be good, and it connects nicely with all of the other stuff we said about operating from a higher consciousness level. Because yeah, if you're working on, if you're thinking about the culture and designing it, then probably you want to design something that's at a higher level.
Yeah, it's interesting because like that is like generally my in like impulse is to like build things at the higher level, but um I think there's a lot of value in like building the lower level stuff properly. And like me personally, I'm gonna operate on whatever level I'm operating on, and like everybody else is gonna do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's you don't. It's my favorite saying is before it's the Zen saying, right? Before enlightenment, chop wood carry water. After
Yeah,
enlightenment, chop wood carry water.
yeah,
Uh, it's you still have to chop wood and carry water no matter what. Uh, but when it comes to, yeah, I think, what do I think? If we're talking about building different kinds of companies for purpose, etc., uh, this stuff becomes, I think people underestimate how important it is how we build, and especially in remote work, and especially in multicultural environments. And pretty much any environment that we operate now is highly multicultural. It's
yeah,
interesting, I'm in Europe now, and Europeans, and I spent most of my adult life outside, right? I was in Canada, I was in Japan, da da da. I moved 10 years ago back to Europe. So when I was 40 years old, as an adult, and Europeans have this thing where on the one hand people overestimate cultural differences, on the other hand they seem to completely ignore them. Oh, we're Europeans, you're white, we're the same, right? But the way conflict is approached, for example, by French, German, Spanish, is completely different, let alone British. And yeah, if you don't work with this intentionally, then you will get burnt by it without a doubt. And usually, when everything is fine and smooth and everybody's happy, everything is good. But then when things start getting hot, then the shit drops. And at that point, you no longer have the capacity to, like, oh, this person is acting from their culture, and that makes them act this way. It's different from my expectations because I have a different culture. No, like, you're livid, red goes over your eyes, you're in fight or flight mode, and you don't have the capacity to be your enlightened, multiculturally aware self, right? If you haven't had those conversations before,
yeah,
if you haven't had, some degree of practice. Something that I have, for example, come to believe in early days of collaboration, lean into conflict. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not saying intentionally cause drama,
yeah,
right? But when you sense that something is uncomfortable or might be, a difference of opinion or whatever, lean into it, explore it,
yeah,
because it's
yeah,
early days and it actually doesn't matter. So rather than, oh, we just met, we should be nice to each other, like, no, of course, have parameters and such, but like, explore, let's confront each other on this,
yeah,
even if
yeah,
it's just you know, you want to go for dinner, whatever, and you eat meat, and I think we shouldn't eat meat. Like, let's have a little go at it here now.
Yeah. Whatever
Conflict,
fights are going to break our relationship should happen at the beginning, as close to the beginning as possible.
and also at the beginning, the things are small, and dispute or differences of it's a muscle, it's practice.
Yeah.
And we see how we react, we practice on this small thing which both of us agree is actually not a big deal, and then when the big shit comes, we're like, oh, we need to get into this mode. But I know how you are. I know that like these certain things, they really trigger you, and you go white, the things, right? I know how to avoid this. But then this thing, right? I had a really interesting experience with one business partner, organizing the gathering event, which is, it's an outdoor event, a lot of people. It's the second one we're doing, 500 people, and you know in the end, we're in Portugal. The weather is nice, everybody is nice, nothing bad happens in Portugal.
Okay. That's
Right?
cool. We've
No, no,
actually
no.
moved
I
to
mean,
Portugal.
no, no, no. I mean, like Canada is the same, right? Like nothing bad happens, right? Vis-a-vis, I don't know, you're in
Like to
South
Canada?
Africa or something, and if you don't do things right, things can turn nasty, right? Or even in some parts of the US, there are countries where there is genuine concern. We forget this, right? We live in these super soft places. So, but there are countries where generally there is reasonable, good reason to have concern about your personal safety, about the safety of the group. Like there is countries where if you do a good event and you don't organize things, armed guys will come into the event and demand lots of money. Like this shit happens in other countries, right? And we forget this, right? That actually the problems that we have in Canada or in Portugal or in places like this are problems, but they're not real problems.
Right.
That's what
Right. Different kinds of
right?
promotion.
So okay, it's stressful, and there's like all of this, and there's one of the participants is trying to organize this. Anyways, I've known him for a while, and we kind of like know each other well enough. He's big Australian guy, like tall, his presence as a man. And at some point, we're just like both going at it, and like we couldn't take it, and we started yelling at each other.
You started yelling
No,
at each other.
yeah, not really in it like we're gonna get into a fight, but just kind of like we can't take it anymore, right? And it needs to be let out.
Yeah.
And then we went through it, and we were fine. Everything moved on. I talked to him afterwards. He's fine. I'm fine. Everything is good, right? We let it out like men. There's
Yeah.
there's no physical contact, but as men, sometimes it's okay to be powerful in
Yeah.
each other's presence, right? There's For me, there was nothing bad. For him, I don't think there was anything bad. Some of the people around us were like disturbed, but it was okay. My business partner, who comes from a nice middle class French background, the mind was blown because in their culture, when you're upset with a person, you speak slowly, politely, using very formal language. This is how I indicate to you that I am upset with you,
Mhm.
right? Just like 90 degrees, or
Yeah.
180 degrees, right? It's a different culture. And to them, it just broke their mind that, two grown men could yell at each other in the presence of other things, and that to them it was not acceptable. Because until then we had worked together for a year and a bit, and everything was good, and we had some challenges, but we were always cool. We talked it through, everything was great. So yeah, it's interesting. And yeah, I mean, conflict resolution is great, but I think giving people skills for conflict, and then yeah, all of these expectations, culture mapping, what is good enough. uh, I love a multicultural world, but I think we do need to accept that this means we need to have more intentionality in culture building and creating shared norms, because each of us comes, and it doesn't matter if you're different skin color or you grew up speaking a different language at home, right? The countries are so big, you could have lived in different ends of Toronto, both, be fully white, whatever, and yet still your expectations and chunks of the culture that you bring in are quite different.
Yeah. Yeah,
So yeah,
it's so true. Like even in, like especially Toronto, like it's so multicultural that it's like every time I talk to somebody, it's like I just have no idea what their background or expectations are, or like what their context is. Each person is like a whole ethnic group in and of themselves.
Toronto, London, but like, I mean, who really anymore is working with somebody that went to the same primary school, to the same church, that their parents knew each other, and right? That this is a very rare reality.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's an interesting thing to work with as you help. And then what I am really interested in, a lot of my work is around how to get groups of organizations to work together, right? The gathering, the event I created and now spreading the world, and hopefully will bring to Canada as well. And I think Ontario, Quebec kind of area to start. The vision is to build regenerative ecosystems of collaboration. So one thing that I believe is that when we go to a regenerative paradigm, because we have a fundamentally shared purpose, and I don't think this needs to be anything more profound or complicated than let's not fuck up this planet. Yes, can we agree on that? Yes.
Yeah,
Okay. Great purpose. I don't think it needs to be
yeah.
more complicated than that to start, but that's already huge, right? More than most for-profit, liberal or the consumer capitalist companies do. That and just the mindset of seeing the world in terms of systems and ecosystems, I think it creates an opportunity and an environment for much richer collaboration between organizations. And that's what and of course, collaboration needs to start with conversation and relationship building. And those are the events that I'm trying to create to get people to interact, know about what each others are doing, talk, learn from each other, and find ways to work together where that's viable.
I think that's great. We can definitely use more like collaboration and connections and the other thing you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, collaboration,
So,
connections, and yeah,
so
like
Steve,
yeah,
please.
gatherings. I guess I don't know. I don't know what the word is. Yeah. Sorry. Continue. Yeah.
Uh, so, looking at it from this angle, what do you think the ecosystem in Toronto or in Canada or the area that you're familiar with needs to be stronger and better connected?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, to be honest, I'm thinking. Um, I'm thinking about Propel mostly. I'm thinking about it through the lens because like that's where my focus is and that's where my commitment is.
I mean, with 100 companies, you have a very rich ecosystem, so that's great.
Yeah, like I wouldn't mind if you like. It depends on like what you want to do and like where your interests and motivations are. But like there is like space to do higher consciousness stuff. There's space to do events where people like connect with each other. Like there's like we do a lot of like connections and like trying to connect people and bring them together, but like it gets hard, right? Like it gets hard because there's like so many people, and you're asking me like how many are in Toronto, and I'm like I should know the answer to this, but I just don't, and I don't even know if anybody does, and like there's a list somewhere that I could look up that maybe, but like yeah, we could use more events actually, and like I assume you're a facilitator as well, like you're good at facilitating a holding space.
I would say I have learned it over the way, and I'm definitely above average. And but I'm not like a professional facilitator, right? I mean, there are people who are like get paid even thousands a day to hold space for things. So I am practically for a lot of the things that I want to do. But actually, the way I usually operate is my general way of convening and of doing stuff is of creating spaces for emergence,
Okay.
right? So the way I like to facilitate is like, look, here's a room full. You're a room full of really cool people. This is what you're interested in. Here's proposal for a question to work on. Here's a format. Go to it.
Okay. So
Uh,
you like creating spaces with emergence.
creating spaces which is definitely not doing anything. Not it's not a passive thing, right? You have to have the right people. You have to have the you have to have uh, you have to have the right question and the thing, but and you have to get people to have the right level of trust and engagement. But a lot of that is done beforehand.
Like
Uh,
setting up. Do you mean beforehand, as in like talking to the people behind? You mean or
Talking to the
like
people,
everybody
setting
sit here
all
and
the
we're gonna do meditation
expectations,
together, presencing, that kind of stuff.
setting their expectations, da 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 da. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely room for that. I would like, if you want, you could just start, like, if you want to just start doing stuff, hosting stuff.
yeah. I mean, right now I'm about to kick off work on Coherence, which is a startup I'm working on for creating a new kind of online event. Uh, Definitely, maybe that could be an interesting thing to do, also to do it within Propel. I haven't started to think
Yeah.
which accelerator, etc., I might want to do. Uh, and I definitely, like I said, I want to bring the gathering to Canada. So that's one event I want to bring. It'd be great for Propel to participate. So I think I'm talking. Who am I talking with? I'm talking with Stephen Michael
Michael
tomorrow.
Wilson.
It says Stephen at Propel.Earth and
Oh,
it says Stephen Michael.
yeah, Stephen Michael. Yeah, so he's the original founder. You're talking to him?
I'm talking to him tomorrow.
Oh, perfect.
So I'll explore that with him. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to tell you what he's already going to. I can already say one of the things. I already know one of the things he's going to tell you, which is
tell
to just sign up for the website and start doing stuff. Um, so yeah, you can definitely just start doing stuff, and also like still take the meeting with him, right? Like, and see what else can emerge.
yeah, so I'll talk with him. It's also cool that two people that I'm in conversation with are already signed up. So I'll have a chat with them to see where they're at what their experience is, and what they say. So in a more, we've talked like really big picture, but kind of more immediately, what are your needs and what's like your plan over the next 3 months?
Yeah, so my plans over the next 3 months, like what I would like to call, like me personally, I mean Propel as the organization.
You in the context of of what you're working on in Propel.
Yeah, so me in the context of Propel um, is, yeah, build a funding pipeline, build a sales pipeline, and build success manager pipeline. Um, and then like have some like successful founders as well, like successfully have. I mean, the truth is we've already been helping successfully help founders, but we need to like start capturing some of that money, that value for ourselves. If I do that in the next 3 months, I will be very happy.
So,
Those are actually like, yeah, achievable goals too. Yeah.
so until now, what has your funding model been? Because it sounds like you haven't had any funders exit or anything like that to give you
Yeah,
a significant.
we haven't really had we haven't really gotten any funding yet. So it's like everybody's just working off their own personal savings. Uh,
Ah,
but um, yeah, there are various plans in place.
yeah, another thing that I wanted to mention, I should share with you. Are we connected? Where are we connected on? Just on LinkedIn, or where are we connected?
Yeah, we connected on LinkedIn.
Okay. Because an idea that I'm working on, something that I'm really interested in, is how to build what I've for now called venture families. So I have this hypothesis that just as humans are stupid, weak, and fragile individually, and strong, intelligent, and resilient in groups, in families, so organizations, especially regenerative ones or ones working for good, would be stronger and better off if we were building organizations in families.
Build organizations that what?
In families.
In families.
A family being a group of organizations that shares a culture, supports each other, and also raises as a portfolio. Not exclusively, but also, right? If we have a shared pool of money, then we can more easily create shared services, interoperable things, and so on and so forth. So this is
Yeah.
something that I'm working towards. I think, it's a fact now that many, if not most companies are built with some, if not many roles being fractional, right? Unless you're somewhat taking off fintech, you don't need a full-time CFO, but everybody would benefit from some
Yeah.
CFO dues. That's
Yeah.
why we have fractional CTOs, fractional CFOs, etc. All of these
Yeah.
fractional roles. But now imagine if you had 5 companies that all shared one CFO and one CTO, and then maybe some things are separate, It would be, the relationships would be deeper, the learnings would be faster and more powerful.
Yeah.
And then if you went for a race together, uh, I think it would create very different dynamics and enable people to be better supported, to be able to be more focused on what they're best at, right? Of course, in a startup as a founder, you do what needs to be done, but the less you need to do of shit which you're not good at or you hate, the better off the company and the faster things move.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of what's of practically what's going on here is there's a lot of like people taking on roles and then like doing a piece and then the organization will and then like that role is almost like no longer needed. Like I've worked on stuff where it's like I'm like, okay, this is really needed. I really do this stuff, and then like my role kind of just disappears, and then because like other people have taken over and it's like moved along and it's no longer needed, and so I think like in a like in maybe a normal like capitalist system, like that person would just be like let go. But for me, it's like, oh, well, I'm going to come back to the it's like come back to the pool or finding out how do I fit into the next piece or the next organization, um, which is stressful. Except that I trust the people I'm working with, so that takes a lot of the stress away.
Which part is stressful?
It's stressful to like find a role because like you're talking fractional roles, right? So there's like fractional as in like there's this role that's needed across the way you're describing it, it's a role that's needed across time, but only a little bit across time. But there's also roles that like are temporal in nature, where it's this role is very important right now, and then if you do a good job, you're no longer needed.
Right.
And so like I think a lot of like or not a lot, but like let's say one of like the problems in the traditional capitalist model is that that person has an incentive to not actually do their job properly because then they're going to get fired. And so it's needed like the way like one of the things I'm looking at is that's really important is to be able to have that person to be like, okay, like you did your role, like you're doing your role, you do it well, and now you have no role, but like we're still recognizing you as a person, and you as the person are needed in this organization, even if the thing that you did is not needed anymore. And like we're gonna stay with you until you find the next thing. Or you can kind of just be in general support until then. And so that's one of the things I'm thinking about, which is like my intuition is to have things a lot like there's going to be people that are just like kind of hired in the organization because and like give them a title or whatever just as an excuse to like keep them there because actually we just want the person more than we need that specific role. But also having it like kind of explicit now where it's like these are like a lot of the startups are going to be transitionary, and so like I'm going to come in, we're going to do a transition, we get paid, and then we move back more support. So like we're there in the background, but we're not. Our focus might be on other startups, and then they come back to us when we need it. So I won't say like I've solved this problem because I haven't, but it is I would say like one of the thing problems we're attempting to work with tackle because I think you're
and then I think that's where when you have a bigger group of organizations working together, it becomes easier because then the person can transition to the next thing and the next thing. And it also, when you have a high trust group, it becomes much easier to shuffle people around as your work goes up and down, right? You know each other, you've worked with each other, and it's like, oh, this month company A has more work for function for the developers, or like we've got thing and we've got a crunch. Can you lend us your developers? And like, well, we're actually struggling with our funding round. So that would be actually good if you could take on our developers for a month or two, or take them on 20-50% or whatever, because that actually takes the pressure off of us. And then in a few months, our funding round is closed. You've delivered your thing, and now you should really fucking focus on selling it, not building more features. You bug fix mode, and we can take the developers, right? And it's interesting for the developers because they have different things to work on. They have learnings across different products, and they don't have to quit. They don't have to, So I think there is, in general, what I believe is this is one thing that remote work unlocks, right? Because when work was linked to a physical place, this would be much harder, right? Even if the company is the other end of Toronto, now this month I have to commute fucking across the whole city, blah, blah, blah. My whole life is torn up, right? Versus oh, I just opened a different browser identity in my browser, or a different Git
Yeah,
environment.
it's just a different Zoom address, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
doesn't matter.
like, yeah, okay. I mean, it takes me maybe a day or two to readjust to the thing, but it's not such a big deal.
Yeah.
So I would love to share that. It's just like a few page concept note, but I think it's something interesting. So remote work unlocks it, first of all. I think, by the way, how much are you guys working with DAOs and things like this for contribution accounting, value distribution, and these kinds of things?
Yeah, we don't have a good system for this yet.
Hmm.
Like we just straight up don't. Like it's one of the things we're struggling with. Because like I
For,
feel like,
for what it's worth it,
huh?
for what it's worth, I've been looking at this problem for 10 years. Nobody's really come up. I mean, there's
Okay.
API, but it hasn't really been deployed. I've been struggling with it forever. I've been
Okay,
hoping
good.
for years that the fucking blockchain world takes it on, but they're just like too busy chasing their trinkets. But it is starting to. I have a friend with a project called Collaberry that's built to solve this,
Oh,
and we should support him. And what? I have another call. You must be kidding me. It's midnight.
oh, is it midnight there for you?
Oh wow! But I had. Okay, that'll be interesting. Let's see if she comes. Yeah, I think it's an interesting thing to look at, and we'll see. And I have a friend that's working on a solution for this. I would love to connect you, and I would love to get your thoughts on this venture family idea, because I think, I mean, I'm not saying it's relevant to you entirely, but it sounds like you're working on similar ideas,
Yeah,
and it might be interesting and spur your thinking in different directions.
yeah. Yeah, I think two things is one is like it's pretty similar like I guess Propel in a way is a family venture in the sense that like all the founders that are part of Propel are their own entities, but there's a lot of like I don't know, maybe it's a little incestuous. Maybe there's a lot of like interactions between the organizations.
That's what a community is supposed to be, right?
Yeah, and on the other side of that is also like so it's like interesting to like learn from each other and then also like work with each other. Like there's no reason why our organizations can't interact with each other. I mean, there's probably lots of reasons why, but it's I think it's
Well,
going to be
I
net
mean,
benefit.
of
Yeah,
course, not everybody, I'm not saying everybody should work with everybody, but I think if we created more of a culture, I mean, human beings, right? This whole thing, human beings are competitive by nature, is just fundamental bullshit, right? Because you are not going to hunt down a mammoth in competition with a bunch of other people. That's just stupid, right? We got where we are as a species because we learned how to collaborate in bigger and bigger
yeah,
groups. I'm not saying that competition doesn't exist, but it's not the human fundamental. The human fundamental is collaboration.
yeah,
I think the current way equity is done, the current way culture between organization is done, and lots of things get in the way of collaboration,
yeah,
of much more collaboration. But in the regenerative world, we have a different approach. We come from a different mentality with different assumptions. So I think we are capable of much more collaboration than the mainstream legacy capitalist economic paradigm sees. In fact, that's my thesis that the way that this new higher consciousness, for purpose, regenerative, whatever, pick whichever language you like, but this new better way will, the reason it will succeed is that we will show that we can out collaborate the legacy systems.
yeah, yeah,
And if we can't, well, I mean, then we suck and we don't deserve to win anyways. Fine.
yeah. Yeah, that's a good attitude. Yeah, yeah. If we can out collaborate, then we win, and if we don't, then Um,
Then
the
maybe we're not as
collaboration
great
one.
as we think.
Yeah. Would you say like this is the problem you're solving? Like as a startup founder, startup?
I would say, I mean, it's a big and complex problem. I would say I'm solving with coherence, with the gathering, I'm solving the two problems before that. First one is discovery. So knowing who the hell is out there that's doing similar things to me or a different similar culture that I might want to collaborate with. And second of all, creating an environment with the gathering through an in-person experience, with coherence through an online experience, where we have deeper conversations like this around meaningful questions, and we can discover, are we potentially compatible for collaboration,
Uh,
right?
yeah.
Like this conversation here now, I don't know how it was for you, but for me, it feels like I understand a bit better what you're working on. I think there's definitely a value and interest alignment. I am motivated to continue the conversation and continue exploring. Can we find something to work on?
Yeah, me too.
Thank you. So this is exactly the experience I want to give to a lot of to everybody.
Oh, I see. I see what you're pointing at now.
And then there is lots of people that are
Yeah,
working
we
on
need
the
this.
problem of there's a lots of people working on the problem of what happens after, right? Collaboration networks,
Yeah.
laws, blah blah blah. But a lot of tech people really underestimate the problem of onboarding.
Of what?
Onboarding.
Onboarding. Yeah, you're building like a collaboration pipeline almost, right?
Exactly. I'm building the top of the funnel.
Yeah, we can definitely use that. That's I mean that's important in general in life, but also it's important for us.
Yeah. Uh, so yeah, that's where I'm at. All right, cool. It's midnight here. It's been amazing talking with you. I'll share with you the venture family, and yeah, let's continue the conversation. I'll talk with your source, with the founder. By the way, out of curiosity, are you familiar with the idea of source from Peter Koenig?
Source?
Source.
No.
It's also an interesting idea around organization creation. This idea that there is one person, often the founder, but when there is multiple founders, it can be not clear who it is, but the person that's, so to speak, channeling, and that is the core of an organization.
Yeah, it's definitely Stefan. Yeah.
And it's interesting because for a long time I had resistance to this. I was like, but we're collaborative, there's five of us and we're all equal. But in practice, of course, nothing
Yeah.
is 100%, but in practice there's always the one. And
Yeah.
if you don't do, and of course, this doesn't mean that they're a dictator or whatever. The good people that are sources just create an enabling environment, but still they are the ones that sense what's in, what's out, the bigger picture. So it's an interesting
Yeah.
idea. And especially when you have co-founders and stuff, there is often conflict around this and it's not clear. And if it's not clear, things
Yeah.
are wobbly.
Yeah. I'm definitely like moving that direction. I would like to be source at some point, but for sure it's Stefan right now.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So it's been wonderful. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Yeah, you too. This was great. I'm really glad we did this.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
To be continued soon. Thank you.
To be continued. Yeah.